What's up, guys? This is Mike Loris, and I'm going to be bringing you another LoL It's Dota game. This is going to be between Complexity and Dara, but really it doesn't matter because that's obviously not why you're here. The reason I chose this replay was because, well, first of all, the last game was pretty successful, I have to say. I got a lot of good feedback on it, a lot of views, and I have a lot of positive reaction from it, so I figure I might as well just do more of these. The reason I'm doing this particular game, I'm sure you'll see, but as you can see right now, kind of similar to LoL, all five are wandering as a group. You see that from time to time, looking for someone to kind of pick off, but I don't think it's going to happen. Just for anyone who's watching who is not the LoL people, Feed is playing the Wisp on Dare, Goblin, no, that's fun, I could probably be calling him Feed. Artstyle is going to be playing the Chaos Knight, Goblin playing the Shadow Shaman, Mid is going to be Mag on the Invoker, God is going to be on top as the Enigma, Fluff and Stuff is playing on the Chen on the Complexity side, IX Mike on the Venomancer, TC on the Queen of Pain, Jo on the Brewmaster, and Hannah Montana looks like he's going to be soloing the bottom lane as a Tide Hunter. Something different that is happening this game that didn't happen last game is that there is a melee hero solo mid. I know, right? Crazy. Mag, the Invoker, I guess you could call him more of an AP hero. He has a range attack and he's pretty much spell-based. So that's a little bit more consistent with League of Legends, but, oh wait, maybe we, no, that's actually just an illusion. So Chen picked up the first rune, and it was an illusion rune, so he's just sending his illusions to try to confuse the enemy team a little bit, but we're going to have a melee hero against a ranged hero. Usually it's kind of difficult to call these sorts of lanes because obviously you'd think the ranged hero has a pretty big advantage, but what the melee hero has going for him is that his attacks come out a lot quicker and he's able to do, on average, a little bit more damage than the other hero. So Jo playing the Brewmaster should be relatively okay. As we see top lane, I completely botched that, but there's the first blood going on to God the Enigma. As you see Goblin diving in a long way for Hannah Montana. Goblin is on the run, and Wisp is a hero who has some pretty silly mechanics. I don't know if we'll actually see the mechanics this game, but the reason I chose this game to show the pacing of Dota, and God is once again getting jumped. Once again, just a couple more hits. He's at 40 HP. Chen is able to grab the last hit. So the pacing of Dota, 1 minute, 2 kills, not bad. I think the weirdest I saw was like 20 kills in 5 minutes or something like that. So the pacing for this game, a little bit faster than in League of Legends. You will most likely never ever see this since no one wants to leave their lane. You're never going to have a weird tri-lane situation in League of Legends. As we see another engagement going on, they're going for this Tide Hunter. There is just never-ending action, but Artstyle, this Chaos Knight, a little bit hugging the tower a little bit too much, and he's going to pay for it, and Funnick looks like he's going to pay for his life as well. So, yeah, this tower, although it is a lot weaker than the League of Legends turrets, they don't do as much damage compared to the amount of health that heroes or champions have in the early game. Yeah, Dara just that's not what you're supposed to do. You don't want to just dive that aggressively and give away 2 kills. That's very dangerous. I'm actually going to try to go again on Hannah Montana, but as you saw right there, that shackle is just a disable. You point, click, and then he gets disabled for 2.5 seconds, which sounds great. You know, it's in League of Legends, crowd control is very valuable, but the thing that the Tide Hunter has, his passive, or one of his skills, is a skill that removes all disables and all negative buffs once pretty much every so often. So that's just another mechanic in Dota that's kind of unique to LoL. If you had that, people would be complaining because slows and snares are so prevalent that if you had something that just removed all of them, basically a Quicksilver Sash every so often, then it's going to be complained about. Another mechanic that is also kind of strange compared to League of Legends is in the Invoker right here. You see his 3 skills. He has Quas, Wex, and Exort, and those are his, I'm going to say, base skills. And then he has his Invoke, which is his ultimate, and then he has 2 other skills, which is, right off the bat, very overwhelming for someone coming from League of Legends. So if you're going to be playing League of Legends and into Dota, you don't want to pick Invoker first, because you will be overwhelmed. You will not know what the hell you're doing. You see another engagement going on to the Wisp, who is a big ball of light, but he is actually pretty weak. He is a strength hero, which means that usually strength heroes are a little bit more bulky, but this Wisp character tends to be extremely fragile. But back to the Invoker. Invoker has these 3 orbs, and every time you level up you could put a skill point into whichever orb you want, and then you could get Invoke as your ultimate, so The ultimate comes a little bit earlier. You can get it at 2, 7, and something. I don't know, but there's 4 points of invoke. I should know that, but I actually don't, so my apologies there. But every time you use these skills, they're free of cost, so you could switch between them, and they'll give you each different bonuses. You see right now he's 2 exort and 1 quas, so 2 red and 1 blue. As you see, once again, another kill going up on the top lane. 6 kills in 4 minutes, not bad. Complexity is doing work. And then when you press invoke, you get a spell depending on what orbs you have active. So 3 exort gives you Sunstrike, 3 Wex gives you EMP, 3 Quas gives you Cold Snap, and with those you have just a huge array of spells, which is something that is actually a little bit of a controversial topic in League, because it is, quote, an unfun mechanic. But in my opinion, something like this makes the hero just have so much depth. As you see an Invoker, now with 3 Exort, the Exorts by themselves, without invoking anything, does give him damage every time he has an Exort orb up. So 3 red orbs means that he's going to get plus 18 damage. And Mag, with that invisibility rune, is chillin', just looking for a kill on this Tidehunter, but Tidehunter is a very bulky hero, and he is going to most likely be okay unless they have some sort of miracle art style going very aggressively. And something that you don't often see a mid hero leaving their lane, but the tri lane on top going to be going very aggressively as well. So action all over the map. Hannah Montana looks like he's going to be fine. In the meantime, Wisp actually died again. So 7 kills. This game is just a complete stomp as Hannah Montana going down as well. And normally, I would not like to cast like a giant stomp. Well, there we go, another kill. And I will tell you what these things are in just a minute. But right now, Shadow Shaman's getting pounded by these things. Bam, 1 last hit. Normally I wouldn't want to cast a stompy game, which it seems like this is, but since it's a LoL It's Dota game, I'm just taking this chance to show you how crazy Dota games can be sometimes. And this isn't your average pub. This is not people throwing their lives away. This is just extremely articulated, well-coordinated ganks that, well, also Dare kind of playing sloppily in my opinion, as we see the Wisps getting owned one more time. This giant ball of light is not having a good time. And what you saw right there was his Q skill tether. You saw the Wisps jump to the Shadow Shaman, and now he has this link on him, which gives a couple bonuses to them, and if you go in between the link, you get stunned. So a little bit similar to Karma's chain thingamajigger, but the amount of mobility that the Wisp had, going from like all the way over here to all the way over here with that tether, that's like, what, 1, 2, 3.5 flashes, so a lot more mobility coming out, as you see Hannah Montana the Tidehunter. Poor Fishy, he's gonna die again. Just action all over the map. Goblin's gonna get his ass kicked once again. This tri-lane on complexity, this is what you want from a tri-lane. This is unfortunately what you don't see in League of Legends. You don't see more than 2 people in a lane. And if you do, then that person is just gonna leave, because it's just gonna be a jungler hero who is gonna come in, hopefully get a gank or try to get some summoner spells burned down, and then is just going to leave right after. Go back to the jungle. Chen is a jungle hero. I already went over him a little bit in my last video, so if you want to know about Chen, you should watch that one. But he's not really farming the jungle, and that's not really what Chens do. They get a jungle creep, as he has a little bit of an army going on for him. They get a jungle creep, and then they go into the lane and get kills, and 10 to 2, this Chen strategy seems to be paying off for complexity. Yes, this Brewmaster. So you saw him appear on the top lane. That's because Brewmaster has a skill called Primal Split, which is another skill that you won't really often see, or you don't see in League of Legends, because the mechanics are, quite frankly, impossible to pull off in League of Legends. We saw 2 kills going on the top lane, and now Artstyle wants a little bit of blood. Gonna be sunning up Ix Mike. Ix Mike is gonna take a Sunstrike, which is the invoked 3 Exort build, but oh no, Dare, they're gonna get cleaned up here because there's way too many people from complexity. A little bit of a over extension there. So using the Sunstrike, which is his triple Exort, Exort, invoked spell, and right now he has Alacrity as well. All the spells are actually right here, so you get quite a bit for Invoker. But back to the Brewmaster. What his ultimate does, it would be impossible to do in League of Legends. Basically, your hero disappears from the screen, and he turns into 3 tiny pandas. And those 3 tiny pandas each have their little abilities. You could control them fully, and they're magic immune, and they're basically unkillable killing machines. And in League of Legends, that's impossible because you cannot select more than one unit. In Dota, once you split, use the primal split, then you tell your Earth Panda to throw a rock, you tell your Wind Panda to cyclone someone out into the air, you right-click your pandas, you micro them around, and unfortunately that's a limitation that LoL has, and if you're coming from Dota, that could be a little bit overwhelming, because controlling more than one unit, well, it could get pretty rough. That's why I don't like to play Chen, because I cannot control these units for anything. If I try, I die, and then I just, yeah, it's bad when I try to play Chen. But anyway, just to show the pacing of this game, currently 13-3, Dara is getting squished right now, and don't take this to mean that Dara is a bad team. Far from it. Dara is one of the top teams, in my opinion. Actually, no, it's not even my opinion. It's a fact. Dara is one of the top teams. This is from the, I don't know what it's called, but it's like the second stage of the defense, which is a tournament going on right now. And Dara are going to be trying to go once again for Hannah Montana. G does not have enough mana for his black hole, which is a giant AoE disable. I guess a Moo ultimate is the best way I would put it, but it kind of acts a little bit differently, as you see no one else dying. Huge AoE stun going after Hannah Montana. A little bit of damage, a lot of stun duration, and he's actually going to go down. Dara might be able to get a kill. There you go. So 15-4, 10 minutes in, and Complexity Jo has that blink dagger, so he could get in from a very long range and to get his thunderclap off, which is a melee range slow, and there goes the primal split. You can see it in action. But Dara actually using an item, this is something that you will see from time to time, using an item called Smoke of Deceit. And I kind of touched on Smoke of Deceit in my last video, but I guess I will explain it again. Smoke of Deceit turns you invisible, which they currently are. It gives you a little bit of movement speed, and its range is pretty big. Like if you use your Smoke of Deceit right here, then everyone in like everywhere will be invisible, so it's pretty big. But the thing is, you could go past wards, but once you get close to an enemy, then you lose your invisibility, or once you attack. So just right there, they broke their invisibility. Actually, League actually implemented something similar in the Evelynn remake. I believe that's pretty much how her new passive works. So Smoke of Deceit is a purchasable Evelynn passive, I guess you could say. So that gives a lot of opportunities. If it's good enough for a passive on someone, being able to just buy it up was pretty ridiculous, as we see G getting pretty much manhandled by a whole bunch of creeps. Unfortunately for Complexity, he's going to get away. So we have some pretty big ultimates. You saw the Ravage pop up from Tidehunter with the giant spikes everywhere. It is exactly what it looks like. Giant AoE, stun, and damage. And Enigma's ultimate is similar. Hopefully we could see one of those. A good one. And right now, invoking different spells. The great thing about Invoker is that, well, the invoke spells are more powerful depending on which components you decide to put in, as Art Style diving in. Huge Meteor, Poison Nova, he's going to get squashed. Chen gets killed by the Invoker. Art Style is now on the run. He is very weak. He's taking a lot of damage from IX Mike, who is basically a damage over time machine. Invoker actually managed to get himself a double kill using all of his spells. Chaos Meteor drops a giant rock on someone. Sunstrike drops a beam of pure light as Goblin just gets evaporated. Drop down the Serpent Wards again. I just talked about the Serpent Wards a little bit. Hannah Montana getting stunned up a little bit, and are we going to see a black hole? Oh no, you already used black hole. I completely missed it. What? What happened? I want to see that black hole. I'm gonna look at the black hole a little bit later, just to show you guys a little bit of how ridiculously awesome Dota ultimates can be. They're a lot more visually appealing as well. You saw the sonic wave coming out from the Queen of Pain, giant cone of death. So, in my opinion, a little bit more of eye candy, especially like the split, the Ravage, Shadow Shamans, shiny wards, stuff like that. But really, Complexity is in a commanding lead right now. They have only lost one tower, and each tower gives the entire team gold, whereas Dara has lost quite a few. And Dara is 10 kills behind, and this Wisp is so dead. Another Meteor coming down, and granted, with those giant flashy spells, it can get a little bit overwhelming, but League of Legends can be overwhelming as well in its own right. You see split Blink Clap going on to G, and G is so toast, you're dead. Giant Ravage going off from that Tidehunter, and someone is cycloned into the air. Goblin, when you're cycloned, you are untargetable, but that just means that that whole enemy team could just come right underneath you and just whoop your ass when you come down. Feed coming as the Wisps, trying to help out Artstyle with that tether, but it looks like Feed is just gonna go down. Dara currently getting completely stumped by Complexity. So yeah, if you don't know what's going on in Dota, that's completely understandable. People who've been playing for several months have no idea what's going on. They just, you know, pop off their big spells and then try not to die, because there's a lot of visual effects. You know, you have a lot of blue stuff coming out from this Wisp, giant fire meteors coming out from the Invoker, giant spikes, purple waves of death, or red waves of death, I guess. Poison coming out from this guy, just a lot of stuff going on the screen. And even though League of Legends can get kind of convoluted as far as effects on the screen goes, it tends to be a lot clearer. Like, I know you have a whole lot of confusion when there's a Misfortune, a Mumu, and Nunu Ultimate all going on at the same time, and then, you know, Fizz's Shark is popping out somewhere, and Blitzcrank is zapping people. But on the whole, League of Legends tends to be a lot easier to follow, because the effects are a little bit more subtle. Brewmaster does have that Blink Dagger, which I believe I talked about last game. But Blink Dagger will give him that big initiation, and you've seen him use it a couple times now. I caught it just on the edge of my screen. He goes pretty far, gonna get that melee range Thunderclap in as Artstyle getting Hex up. And he's trying to fight his way out of it, but he's not gonna go. He's gonna go down. Slate the Vise. If you had an item like this in League of Legends, everyone would be buying it. Like, literally everyone with the money would be buying it. It gives you a free disable. You buy it, and, you know, it gives you some nice stats, gives you some mana regeneration, intelligence, whatnot. But it gives you a disable, and that's not just a snare where they could attack out of. That's a disable where they could barely move. Their movement speed goes down to, like, what, 100 or something like that. And they can't attack, they can't cast spells, and just a huge, valuable asset to your team. Granted, it is pretty expensive, but the power it gives in Dota is pretty freaking insane, especially since the Complexity team doesn't really have many hard stuns. Having that as an extra disable that you can just purchase is a very large deal. You actually saw another Hex going off onto Jao, but that was actually a skill from the Shadow Shaman, so it's a skill that you could buy, and that's very useful. And Shadow Shaman casting his shackles once again, bink, gonna go down. 26 to 8, 16 minutes in. Dara is getting stomped. This is actually, well, an extremely one-sided game. One-sided games are never fun to watch, but you don't see this type of action coming out from League of Legends. And if a strategy like this hits you in one of your Dota games and you're 8 to 26 down, there's quite frankly very little that you could do, especially if the other team is relentless. They're not making any mistakes, they're just continuously pouring on the pressure. You try to get kills here and there, but ultimately it's very difficult to come back from a situation like this. 15,000 gold advantage of Complexity, almost 12,000 gold as Roshan gets taken down, so that is going to give them the Aegis of the Immortal, which is going to bring them back. So free Guardian Angel for Queen of Pain, and Queen of Pain is level 12, so doing pretty okay for herself. Level 6 on the Wisp only, level 11 on the Invoker, 10 on the Chaos Knight. So this Wisp is getting completely owned. I want to see a relocate. I also want to see a Black Hole. Where's Black Hole? Black Hole is up, so hopefully we'll see one of those. I could explain to you guys exactly what they do. Kind of, well, Black Hole, not really, but relocate, definitely a spell that would be pretty ridiculous in League of Legends, and just something that you should be watching out for. I am going to be casting another game. I don't know who it is. It's like Power Rangers versus someone else. There's the relocate. He's supposed to tether someone, but okay, basically what relocate does, you move to a place, you teleport anywhere on the map for 11 seconds, and then when those seconds are over, bam, you're back to where you started. So you could bring someone with you if they're tethered, but oh, actually Wispy's getting his ass kicked right now, so goodbye. Artstyle is getting his ass kicked as well, goodbye, and Goblin is also getting his ass kicked. Oh lord, this is brutal. Holy shit streak on that Queen of Pain, beyond godlike. And there's the Black Hole, giant AoE disable that pulls to the center. It's amazingly valuable because it just gives you a whole bunch of solid time where you could right click, you could cast spells. It is channeling, which means it can be interrupted by a simple stun. But Complexity, kind of light on the stuns, and there's the GG coming out from Darer. So So you got to see a relocate, you got to see a black hole. The relocate was kind of shitty. I am going to be casting another game that does have a little bit more substance to it. I realized this one didn't really have the most, just showed Dara getting pretty much squished throughout the entire game, but I figure I haven't recorded a video in like 2 days, so I got to get something out. I can't get lazy. So I'm just going to be casting this, a nice clean 20-minute forfeited game, and you rarely will see this in Dota. Games that last this long are just, well, maybe 1 out of 30, I'd say, among pro games. Maybe even more, 1 out of like 45 or 50. But these games extremely infrequent, but just shows that once you get a lead in Dota, if you play it right, if you keep pushing down the towers, because each tower will give you a little bit more and more gold. I'm just going to put this back so I can keep talking. As you take down more and more towers, you get 2 things. You get map control and you get extra gold. Obviously the extra gold will help you buy those bigger items, so you'll have an advantage that way. But map control is something that is a little bit more important. It is present in LoL, but I figure I might as well explain it right now. Once you lose this tower up here, that means basically everything past this area is dangerous. And once you lose the... Oh, get off me. Once you lose the tower that's over here, that means every time you step out here, you're in the danger zone. And with a relentless hero lineup, such as the one that Complexity has, that can just initiate on you, chase you down with a whole bunch of slows, that lane control, that map presence is just so vital. And that's something that you can try to do with wards. Dara had, well, at the 17-minute mark, they had tried to put down a couple wards, Sentry and Observer wards, so pink and regular wards, pink and green wards, I guess. Try to get a little bit of map presence on the board, and they have another ward over here, as does Complexity. So that's a way that you could kind of artificially increase your map control. Of course, towers are a lot easier to have as far as map control goes. They're a lot harder to take down, and they're free. But yeah, just having map control, having vision of the map, is vital in Dota as it is in League of Legends. So, it's very important. I think I'm going to just go on to the next game, guys. So this has been the second LoL It's Dota video. Not the best one, but huge pacing coming out, and they're, quite honestly, they did not play their strategies right, which happens from time to time. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to move on to the next video. And yeah, always feedback, comments, all that jazz. So thanks for watching, guys. GG.